This is one of my favorite songs right now. Something about that loud, deep bass with those sharp drum hits over this beautiful orchestral sample hits perfectly. The first song I heard by Quinn was I Hate It Here, which I first heard somewhere around 2020, and while I think the song's still pretty good, eventually I grew out of it. I've followed her music a bit since then, not as much as some other artists from the same scene, but from time to time I would listen to whatever her newest drop was. Fast forward some time and Drive-By Lullabies dropped. This album is really good and definitely still holds up. While a lot of artists making experimental hip-hop similar to songs like I Hate It Here and I Don't Want That Many Friends in the First Place have been categorized as hyperpop, when you actually dive into the scene, most of these artists actually disavow that term. Hyperpop in its literal sense is a movement within art, an exaggeration of what is popular. One thing is very clear to me. Drive-By Lullabies is not hyperpop. Whatever genre you want to call it, I don't really care. I bring up hyperpop because this is what the listeners of that kind of music expected at the time. This project and a lot of her newer music leading up to this had matured and developed into something those people weren't expecting. Drive-By Lullabies was something much more experimental and complex. While other artists that had been assigned the hyperpop labels such as Eric D08, Glaive, and Breakins gravitated towards the more melodic pop sounds, Quinn's music has gravitated more towards hip-hop. One of my favorite albums of 2024 was Stars Fell on Trench by Quinn. While I liked Drive-By Lullabies and many of her other projects since, I think this one is my favorite of hers. It has this incredibly unique style of sampling and just general aesthetic. Overall, the album feels really good to listen to and carries a very high quality. These samples and sounds are very specifically handpicked. Even from this album alone, you can tell Quinn is not the kind of musician to chase trends or the expectations of listeners. Returning to this song, I can't recall how long ago the first time I heard it was. One thing I do remember is hating the song at first. I thought the bass was way too loud and made the song annoying, but I noticed something. The more I listened to the song, I didn't dislike the bass anymore. While the song can be uncomfortable in headphones due to how low the bass is, there's a certain quality to the song that I can't find in anything else. A certain texture. And something got me curious. I had always assumed because of the name of the song that it had sampled a track from Final Fantasy, so I wondered what song it sampled. I did some Googling to try to find answers, but instead of finding a sample from Final Fantasy, it was some composer I'd never heard of before. I tend to reject the idea of objectively good art, but still, to me, this is a perfect song. Something about the way the violin glides on top of those piano notes. The chords just perfectly fall into place, and then as the piece progresses, the strings fall apart and hit the wrong notes, but then all of a sudden they fall back together into this wonderful ascent, some dissonant from one another and others aligning with traditional scales. I could go on forever about this song. I truly do think this is a perfect piece of music. So I dove deeper. What kind of album could a song like this be from? My first listen of 1996 by Ryuichi Sakamoto came. And then after that, many of his other albums. While I do like a lot of his albums, what stuck out to me was his orchestral and specifically piano compositions, sometimes accompanied by strings. Async, Insen, 1996, and many others that I've yet to listen to. I dug deeper and found out that he had some albums with vocals, so I gave them a try. Beauty, Sweet Revenge, and Smoochy. Some songs on some albums I liked, and others didn't click for me. So it's safe to say while I liked some of these albums, there were definitely a few I liked more than the others. Then I got to Smoochy. The first track caught my eye, Bibo no Aozora, but I had already heard that song on the other album. I guess it's not uncommon for artists to make multiple versions of their own songs. I pressed play. This was probably one of the strangest experiences I've had listening to music. At this point, I'd become very familiar with the version of the song I had already known. Everything about this was different. This is a different song, except it really isn't. It's the same melody, but this time the song has lyrics. and there's this drum break covered in layers of noise with these electric keys playing over top. This version is kind of dreamlike and faded in contrast to the other 1996 version's precision. When I call this weird or strange, I don't really intend it as a negative term, just that to my ideas of what this song already was, and to my ideas of how music in general is, the song is an anomaly of some sort. Moving deeper into Sakamoto's catalog, I got to Opus and learned of his passing. Ryuichi Sakamoto passed away in March of 2023, just a few months after the recording of Opus. It's selfish of me to say I wish I found his music before his passing, but I would still say it, and I truly do believe he was one of the greatest composers of our time. When I need to focus or study for something and I want music in the background, there's two main options that I'll usually pick from: Brian Eno and Ryuichi Sakamoto. But where Brian Eno captures this beautifully peaceful sound, Sakamoto captures this more dark and melancholy sound. Still equally beautiful. In our time right now, artists are undervalued. Most people don't even care about the actual art or the artist, just the celebrity idea of an artist. The real independent artists struggle to make ends meet, especially in this age of AI where corporations will spend as much money as possible just to hire less artists, just to save more money, that little few cents that they would save by not hiring an artist. They kill the soul of the music, but that's not really what they care about in the end, is it? We need to support the artists whose work we love, because if we don't fight for their survival, no one will, especially not our politicians and billionaires. If you've enjoyed any of the music in this video, by Quinn especially, go buy some of her music. Seriously. If you want to directly support these artists, they need financial support. Go to their shows, buy their merch, buy their music, and even then stream the music because that helps too. Even if they aren't directly struggling financially, we need to provide support to smaller independent artists and musicians. We need to make sure to value musicians and their work while they are still here. You never know how soon their time will come. I'd like to end this with another version of the main song I've spoken of. This version of the song has piano again, but now is a duet between Ryuichi on keys and female vocalist Taeko Onuki. From what I've heard, translations of songs are never quite accurate, but I don't speak Japanese, so this is the closest thing I can find to the real lyrics.
眼差しの不実さと気高さに溺れていた苦しい夏だった青空も声も小さな詩のようにこれ以上愛さない禁じる愛しさで瞳は傷口と知る心の別々の惑星に僕たちは住む双子さけだものの優雅さで沈黙を舌で味わう景色のように切なさ で胸を痛めながら君の可憐な喉笛から溢れ出した虹の果ては美貌の青空苦しい夏だった手に触れるすべてかけらの詩のように君の血が透き通る野蛮な瞳見ては途方に暮れる真夏の楽園
I know it's been like a year since the last video, but I also have been working on a big project, so big video coming.